suits, no scripts, just security. This is Deepwatch Unfiltered, where cyber chaos gets personal. Real defenders, real talk, no safe takes. This is the only podcast where we say the quiet part out loud, drag bad security takes, and maybe get HR involved. If you came for sanitized corporate speak, you're in the wrong pod. Your security safe space just became a dumpster fire.
Welcome back to another episode of Deepwatch Unfiltered. I'm your host, Chad Cragle, and today we're diving into a story that every tech leader can relate to. Have you ever used a product and thought, this just works? Well, that's exactly what happened. The episode is called, I Liked It, So I Bought It. And I mean that literally. Deepwatch fell in love with a product and a company, and so we decided we had to have it. Joining me today is Parth Shah, one of the co-founders of Dassana, the team behind the powerful tool that collects data, aggregates it, and gives you a single pane of glass to see exactly the risks you have in your environment today. We hope that you enjoy the show. Hey, Parth, how's it going?
It's going well, Chad. Excited to be here. It's not every day you get to tell the story of building something and then seeing it become part of a bigger mission.
Yeah, happy to have you here. Happy to go through this experience. Thanks for joining. And, we're really just going to open it up talking about how this all got started. And I remember it was late 2024, right? So just last year, almost a year ago. And we were in Tampa, Florida, doing a product offsite. And we were looking at what we needed to do to increase our visibility for our customers and for the platform. And as we went through that, I was talking to our CEO, and he said, "Hey, I have you someone that I need you to go and meet with." And I was like, "Oh, what's this about?" And it was to talk to you all. And when I returned from that trip, that following week is when I met with you. And so I really want to hear from you what that first experience was like and the demo that we sat through.
Oh, man. I remember that like it was yesterday. I remember just jumping on that call and didn't feel like a pitch. It felt like we were speaking the same language. And we connected a bunch of your tools, and 30 minutes later, we continued talking in the same language. And, it just felt right.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And I think that's what captivated me was how easy it was to get it up and running, right? You always hear, 10 minutes or less, or see what our product can do for you. And I saw it in real time. And we integrated 3 different tools, like you said, in a matter of 10 minutes, and the data started flowing in. And I was just blown away. And then we came back 24 hours later and it was like, what? And there's just so much data in there. And I couldn't wait to meet with you again. And we did. We met that day. And I was questioning you about, hey, what can you show me? And I remember you building dashboards in real time. Can you just talk about maybe the vision behind Dassana and what made you create such a strong product for this data ingest, the many integrations, the ease of use, but then also even those dashboards and what they represent?
Absolutely. Dasana started with a pretty simple but ambitious mission. One, giving CISOs clarity, and 2, allowing them to share their story with their stakeholders confidently, be it the board, be it the SEC or compliance auditors, to other stakeholders within their organization. Truth is, every company has data all over the place, from cloud to endpoints, apps, tools, and there's no unified picture of risk. We wanted to build something that brought it all together, added context, but most importantly, mapped everything to business risk. So not just another dashboard, but a foundation powered with data and AI that lets leaders make faster, better decisions.
Yeah, and for me, something that you all did really well was breaking it down by the business units, right? That's something that companies struggle with on who owns what and where are your critical assets. And it was maybe a few days in. I think pretty early on, we were meeting about 2 times a day. and walking through what the product could actually do. And at that time, I don't think we ever really thought maybe there was going to be something there, right? So we were just moving through the motions, but either way, I was going to end up with this product one way or another, either uh, having it internally to Deepwatch, or we were going to become a customer of yours. And it just felt like the right fit. But I don't think I've ever asked you this question. We were looking at Dassana, and I could imagine, because I know the logos that you all have, that there were other companies most likely viewing you from a purchase standpoint. But you had to get comfortable with Deepwatch, right? Like, this is something you built, maybe your baby, right? And in a day, it could be someone else's. So why or what made you go, hey, Deepwatch is doing something that we like, and why did you pick us as the ones to really own Dasana?
That's a great question, Chad. I'd say two things. One, Deepwatch wasn't just looking at Dasana as a bolt-on feature. Deepwatch was looking at Dasana as central to the future of their platform and where they wanted to go. That was very
Makes
big.
sense.
We had an aligned vision. And two, and more importantly, culture. While we had interest from others, I think that customer first mindset, that laser focus on security operations, and just that click that you and I had, that JD had, was special.
Yeah, I agree. There was, you also had the CEO Ajay involved in a lot of calls, and what a visionary that he is, and what he brought to the table. But
Indeed.
I got to spend a lot of time with him, and where I saw what Deepwatch was doing, but what Dasana was doing. Him and I had great conversations for where the platform should really go, and that really made things exciting for me. And I'm sure you felt the same way.
Indeed.
So as we progress through that acquisition, I think we did it, maybe not a record time, but maybe we can find that out. But we did it in like 3 or 4 months, right? From demo to purchase. That experience was kind of chaotic, but do you think it was chaotic? I mean, for being a startup, you all had your shit together, right? Like, you had your SOC 2, you had your ISO. When we started collecting the due diligence evidence, everything was there. How does a startup do that? I mean, I think a lot of them were kind of just poking around. You seem to have it together.
That process, not going to lie, it was intense, but very uplifting and energizing. Acquisitions can drag on forever. And here it felt like a sprint. There was
That's
a
right.
lot of conviction on both sides, and the vision was so clear. And I think that really helped in the fact that we weren't really negotiating the why, just figuring out how fast.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And I can remember it so vividly because we happened to spend this over the end of the year, which included Thanksgiving, Christmas, and New Year's. And I think we actually met on a couple of eves of those holidays, because we just knew how important it was to get this done and to move forward. And so, that was great. And I thought the process went pretty well. That was my first acquisition. um, we should take a step back, right? Because you've done those before. You founded other companies. Um, was that a similar experience? And what was that company that you helped build?
So in the past, I was part of one of the founding engineers on a team where we were solving the cloud security posture management challenge. It's a company called Redlock, and we'd gotten acquired by Palo Alto Networks at the time. Uh, every process is different, but with this one, similar to the Palo Alto Networks one, it felt like an alignment of vision, which just helps move things so much faster.
Yeah. I bet they've acquired several companies now, right? So they might even had a little bit better process than us. But how long did that deal take to close?
That took a couple months, but I was surprised at the speed at which Deepwatch operated. This being the first of hopefully many acquisitions that Deepwatch makes.
Yeah, we're coming up on that 1 year mark, and we better start looking, right? And maybe you'll be on this side of the fence now, helping with that, right? Yeah, it was definitely a fun time. So now that we're closed, right? We've had you since what, February, so not quite a year. We are creeping up on that. I think the big question is what now, right? So um, now that you're officially integrated into Deepwatch, where do you see the product going?
Well, I'll tell you one thing. Having been through this process before, we're obviously in the process of integrating, but that process has been surprisingly smooth. There seems to be a hunger to rename things, merge the roadmaps, and culturally, it really feels like one team here.
That's
In
great.
terms of where we're going, we've already done some very exciting announcements. Recently, we just launched our AI natural language interface, or I like to call it Chad GPT.
Wow,
Uh,
who's that?
that's you, man. Um, I guess my one liner there is our CISO's got job security. Want to be next?
We have to get that approved by marketing still, and I think every time you say it, they take one step back.
Oh,
So,
oh, they cringe. But anyways, jokes aside, right? Democratizing security analytics, making it so that information is at our fingertips in today's day and age with AI. That's kind of the expectation. And so we've already launched this capability that's giving our customers the ability to get the answers that they need, drive the initiatives that they want within a matter of seconds. They're able to get this data. Really, the North Star is we're working on building a unified security index, so to speak, essentially an ability for a CISO to be able to figure out what those OKRs are and track them live with data so that they can see their program moving to the top and to the right.
that's fantastic. So they'll start with the score, and then the plan is to mature them over time, but that's going to give them visibility into that, right? So
Indeed.
go ahead.
Indeed. Yeah. Giving them visibility, actionability, being able to set targets and hit those goals, similar to how any organizations manages their OKRs. Similar version of that, so that there's that single pane of glass, so to speak, where a CISO is able to see their effectiveness and how that's moving with their goals and their priorities.
Yeah, I like that a lot, and we worked on that as we were actually going through the deal. Right, we were talking about how the single pane of glass is something from an executive standpoint. It's great to show up and see and take action on it, but maybe an analyst wouldn't spend their day in there, right? And so the powerfulness of this was with those integrations, right? Because you could bring in application security data, you could bring in your own data, any type of data, but build that so it's in that single pane, and then associate a risk score to that and see it mature over time. And I think that I think that resonates with a lot of folks, especially if you're there to help them build that. And I do want to take a step back. I don't want to lose this train of thought, but the AI piece that you brought up, you're calling it the CISO Copilot. There is going to be a new name for it, but the from what I saw, the powerfulness of that is fantastic. And can you just walk us through the purpose of that and what value that actually brings to the customer?
Yeah, absolutely. The purpose is to democratize security analytics. You can ask a question, like say there's a new 0-day vulnerability, right? Most of the scanners don't even have the CVE. With a simple question, do I have this in my environment? You can see a heat map of the distribution of that specific software that's vulnerable and being exploited in the wild across your organization, broken down by your different business units, along with where are coverage gaps missing. We already can do this today, just with a single question. But where we want to go next is with the power of the MDR. Now that we're talking about um, not just MDR as reactive, but proactive and preemptive
Sure.
as well. Well, imagine that now that you understand your coverage gaps, where your zero-day vulnerability is across the environment, you start to get recommendations from another AI agent that helps you turn on the right detections, turn on, start to get the visibility into any kind of logs that are coming in, starting to really connect those dots, creating a remediation plan, and helping have another AI agent manage that. So the future here is bright in terms of how we're going to start to connect the dots to drive that productivity up where a lot of customers struggle with the swivel chair effect.
Sure. Yeah. And what I found so powerful with that is, you gave a story, but like my personal experience was, hey, show me all my critical vulnerabilities, right? And it brings back, shows you critical vulnerabilities. Then you say, well, show me out of those critical assets which ones aren't running EDR, and then
Mm-hmm.
it shows you which ones aren't running EDR. What is internet facing? What is what is exposed? And the powerfulness of that just coming back in real time is huge, and that helps you kind of manage your vulnerability program. And we were using two tools prior to the Dassana acquisition, where we couldn't do that, but we were also having deduplication issues and just didn't know where our assets are. And today, I have the best visibility that I've ever had into our assets, who owns them, how they sit today, and where they sit. And so, yeah, that's been huge internally too. And I'll probably say it on every single episode, but I represent myself as customer zero. So using this as our customers would is big, because we're able to talk about it. And we've built that, and we've built that document called the security department checkup, right? And it's exactly what it does, goes through different types of data sets and shows each department where they are and holds them accountable to stay within the compliance realm. So I think, very, very powerful.
Thank you, Chad.
So, you know, one of the things that I want to talk about is something that's kind of fallen off the roadmap a little bit, just because our priorities, but you have a patent, right?
Yes, we had a patent on something actually really cool. We were trying to solve the manual process of evidence collection. A lot of times, despite all the compliance automation, auditors need IPE time stamped screenshots, information provided by entity, IPE. And a lot of teams spend countless hours going into different tools collecting those screenshots. Well, what we had gotten a patent on was we had built an AI agent that could automate this process in your enterprise stack. Traverse from Okta into relevant tools and pull out all of the evidence that you need. And all you need to do is just prompt the agent.
That's wild. So you're saying that the auditor comes along and says, "Show me your password parameters," right? And the first place you're probably going to go is like into an Okta or something, right? And typically, you would have somebody go in, take a screenshot, and provide that. This patent that you have and what you built basically would crawl through Okta as a service account, but like acting as a human, go to the password parameters and take a screenshot. Or did you say also like a recording?
Yeah, great question. It would take a screenshot and not just stop there. It would also convert that screenshot to structured data so you can ask follow up questions. And two, the entire session of that agent is recorded so
Wow.
that that's additional IPE timestamp proof that this agent or screenshot has not been tampered with.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. For a lot of reasons, right? Now the auditors ask for, hey, how'd you take that screenshot? Show us the query or the snippet of how you actually got to that. And this would just do that for it, and provide the hash to say no one's touched it, and here it is. So that's really, really cool. I hope that at some point we're able to work on that again, because there's a lot of value there. Because even from an MDR perspective, we meet a lot of compliance controls, just think of, from a logging aspect, if it was able to go crawl and pull those screenshots as well, that would be huge.
Indeed. And, the agentic future here at Deepwatch is exciting. There's a lot of exciting initiatives in the pipeline. So we should be able to accomplish some pretty amazing things in the coming months.
So that sounds like a roadmap. Is there anything that you can share with us today about, what's on that roadmap and where you plan on going?
Absolutely. That 0 day use case that we just talked about, right? There's already things we can do to show you a heat map of where a risk is across your environment, giving you a breakdown by the different business units so you understand who owns what, who's the neck. I got to choke, so to speak.
Single.
Where are the gaps? Being able to see that Venn diagram to see, hey, these critical assets are actually missing our compensating controls. We can already do this, but this is just one, risk agent. Now, let's say we add a detection advisor agent. We add another agent that helps you with your situation room, making it so that, you know, like where AI is not replacing analysts, but rather AI is doing this heavy lifting in seconds so that humans can make their critical judgment calls with those relevant human in the loop interactions baked into the AI.
Yeah, that's great. And with the AI buzz and everybody talking about it, right? We're seeing it now. We have individuals or customers using the product, but their concern is AI, right? And
Mhm.
so, what are some of the ways that we're combating the questions around what are you doing to protect the data? What are you using from an AI perspective? Like, how are we telling that story?
Yeah. I think in today's day and age, everyone wants to use AI, but using AI responsibly is important. There's actually several things we have done that have allowed our customers to adopt AI with open arms, especially with the fact that we're dealing with highly sensitive data
Yep.
as it pertains to an organization. One, we've signed a zero data retention agreement with OpenAI. And we took on the heavy lifting of remembering conversations and chat histories so that our customers get the benefit of none of their data actually being retained. We are offering AI in multiple flavors in the product where you can either go no AI, you can use light AI, which is, hey, AI will only see your prompts but never touch your data, or you can go full AI. And so, really, I think it boils down to two things. One, that we as an organization are doing everything in our power to do it in the most secure way possible. And two, providing that optionality because everyone has a different risk appetite as it
Sure.
comes to, adopting AI based on whatever compliance frameworks or whatever industry demands you need to comply with.
Yeah, that's great to hear. And I don't think I've told you this, so maybe a little breaking news, but to make your life a little bit easier, I'm gonna let you in on a little secret. My team and myself have decided to get ISO 42001, which is specific to AI. That's going to show our customers that we are doing what we say we're doing with that data and how we're protecting, all of their assets, but also what we're doing internally to protect that data and tighten down our controls. So we're expecting to have that right around the first quarter of 2026, but that should help close out, procurement cycles a little bit quicker, right? Because I'm sure right now you're seeing customers pushing back.
Indeed, I go through several of these AI security reviews, and so thank you because that's going to significantly streamline the process. And I think it's a badge of honor, right, that we're doing AI and we're doing AI as responsibly as we can, being a security company. So thank you. That's actually phenomenal news.
Yeah, we're pretty excited about it. We wanted, that's what we do at Deepwatch, right? Like everything's security by design. We want to make sure that we have the best controls in place and that we are doing exactly what we say we're doing. So that's a big commitment for us, but we want to take this on because we know where the direction is going and we know those questions are being asked. So, you know, um, happy to do it. Um, I do want to hear from you because you are talking to the customers. You had customers before the acquisition, and they absolutely adore you, but also the product, right? Like they think it's great. Can you just tell me maybe a success story or two about using the product?
Yeah, absolutely. I'll tell you two success stories. In one situation, we were talking to a customer that global customer spanning across three different geographies with um, almost 30 plus different subsidiaries. So
Okay.
really multinational organization. And on a monthly basis, um, they were cobbling up reports as it pertained to each and every subsidiary and the CIO and the relevant security folks running each of those subsidiaries. And once we understood, one, the size of the organization and how much data they were dealing with, two, exactly what reports it was that they were manually creating every month to start to understand um, exploits and for the things that are open, how long have they been open, if they're done, what was the mean time to remediate. We were able to automate those reports in a matter of days.
Dang.
A
And
process that was
when you say days, did they give you a timeline or say how long it was taking them prior to
Oh yeah,
integrating?
great question. So it was a process that was taking 3 to 5 days a month across two different people, one of them being an executive.
Wow.
And now all of a sudden, you know, all of in what took a couple of days was just learning about their business. But actually getting that report up and running was a matter of hours. And now they have this automated report um, that helps them get visibility across the business with the ability to drill down into any one of their specific subsidiaries and ask more questions. That's one story.
That's if you think about the ROI on that alone, right? You have an executive pulling this data, and then maybe like an IC, but still they're spending 3 to 5 days a month doing that. Just the time there. Now you're down to hours doing it. Well, now it's probably minutes, right? The longest part is hitting the export button. So I mean, that story alone just shows how powerful this is, but the return that you get on this as well. Sometimes it's not just like, hey, I get this back. I mean, something like that could almost pay for the tool itself by them not having to sit there and do that 12 times a year.
Indeed. And I'll give you a second story, and this one's a fun one too. We're talking to a CISO, and there were several questions where they were like, one, we don't know who owns what. Two, we don't know how many active servers are running. And so as we were doing discovery with the customer, we started talking to them, and they're like, "Well, look, our environment is complex. There's these things in this region. There's this naming convention. There are these specific clouds." But as they were talking, what they were telling us was all of that tribal knowledge about their organization, about regions and data centers and naming conventions and tags, et cetera, et cetera. um, we have an entire business attribution mapper where once we got this context, we were able to kind of throw it in there. And we understood by the end of it, within one call, 97% of the ownership of their
Wow.
environment across their different programs. And they were like, this is a problem we've been trying to solve for 2 years. And let me like double click on this, right? A lot of organizations, when they do vulnerability management, there's someone that's manually going in and adding tags as they understand what an asset does. Well, you're always going to play that game of catch up, right? Because you're always
Yep.
going to be one step behind. Well, what if you understood regions, naming conventions, And you had these rules that would automatically, as assets came in, they get mapped to the appropriate business unit, right? And ultimately, the benefit is that you're now actually staying ahead, not trying to always play catch up. And so within just a call, we were able to help the customer understand, one, these are how many active running machines you have across your organization, broken down by different business units. We helped them understand all of that ownership, 97%. And they were blown away. All it took was one call for them to be like, I'm a believer.
That's wild. We should have almost just came on here and gave real stories like this, or invited, happy customers with it on here. And I think a lot of them were skeptical when we brought it on, because they were like, I don't understand how this fits into the MDR world. But we also do EDR, right? We also do managed firewall, we do managed VM. And that's where this shines, right? Really, really big in the vulnerability world too. And so I don't mean to put you on the spot, but is there a third story? Because I mean, these are good. And I mean, it's, for me, when I purchase tools, it's always that ROI, and both of these validate that.
Yeah, I mean, that's a very good question. And, just to double click on the MDR bit, you're right. To some people, it's like, well, what does this have to do with MDR? And I know we're talking vulnerabilities, but, removing the acronym or alphabet soup of security, right? Ultimately, there's just so much data. We do a good job, in the SIM and the MDR side, bringing a lot of these logs. But ultimately, what what's going to drive every program is context. How do we make faster, better, smarter decisions? And it all boils down to context. And essentially, that's what we have here, the ability to tie business and technical context together, and then being able to serve that up, whether it's MDR use cases, MEDR use cases, vulnerability management use cases, almost becomes this brain that helps make everything else around it better.
Yeah. Yeah, really well said. And you know, what are some of the things that you're hearing internally about it, right? Because it's now getting integrated with our tech stack and our existing platform. For individuals that are using it internally, is there any feedback that you're getting from that today?
Yeah, indeed. So, like, externally, customers are saying, this took me years and now I can do it in a minute. But internally, from engineers, you hear about, whoa, this is, next gen ETL, extract, transform, load, because we're doing so much with this data, understanding ownership, etc. From our analysts, we're saying that, hey, I've not seen 99.49% reduction in noise when it comes to vulnerabilities. It's something I've never seen before. And so, and leadership sees it as, hey, this is board ready risk reporting. Hell yeah.
Exactly. That's my next question, right? Because you were talking about, reporting, but having, being an enabler of the business, right? And we're starting to see more and more where CISOs are sitting in the boardroom. But in order to do that, you got to be able to talk the language of the board, not so much the technical speak. And so one of the things that I noticed in some of the dashboards and the reporting, it does exactly that. Is, are you saying that this is board ready? I would be able to export a report and show that to the board, and that's my day.
Yeah, essentially. Recently I was reading this really great book, Talk Like TED, where they talk about the best presentations that a lot of people that have done tech talks do. And they talk about logos, pathos, and ethos, right? As a CISO, when we're in these board conversations, you're there because of your credentials, right? That's your ethos. Um, Logos, that's the logic that you use to start to do your storytelling. Um, and then finally, there's the pathos bit. That's the storytelling bit. And like the most successful TED Talks out there are actually 65% storytelling, about 30% logos or logic, and 5% where they talk about their credentials. And so the truth is, even in a boardroom, right? Everyone's trying to tell their story.
Yep.
But how do we arm our CISOs so that they have this information at their fingertips? They are able to do that storytelling. And so, yes, when a CISO is like, hey, like I have XYZ hypotheses, and this is kind of how I've been driving my program, and, you know, this is my story, we're able to use their data and give them those metrics that they can confidently stand behind, knowing that this data is high quality and completely explainable, and they're able to go, drive the change that they want to see in their organizations with their stakeholders.
Yeah, it's amazing. Um, so, how would somebody that's listening get started using the product?
Honestly,
Call your
we
cell phone. Should I give it out? Want me to give out your cell phone on here?
call me. Yeah, keep your data sources ready, and that's it. 30 minutes later, your data is going to start to flow in, and then we're going to spend the next week or two trying to understand your business. That's
And
where
so,
the business context comes in.
do they email you, or who are they reaching out to get a hold of? Like, what do they do? Send the bat signal or the part signal? What is that?
Uh, no, well, on our website, it's literally you can reach out to sales@deepwatch.com, or on our website, you can push the button that's on our landing page to get started today. And we offer a 30-day proof of value. And typically with our customers, first meeting, we connect the tools. Within 30 minutes, that data is flowing in. And then week over week, we're just starting to provide more and more insights. And with at least the POVs that we have been running, I have yet to come across a customer that 2 or 3 weeks in had not already seen the value.
Yeah. I hope that somebody reaches out and tries to challenge you on how easy it is to actually integrate um, 3 tools. I think if they bring the person that has access to the tool, I think they can set all 3 of them up in what, 15 minutes?
Mm-hmm.
10? Are you shooting for 10? I mean,
Oh, my engineering team's not going to be happy with me.
no. All right.
Challenge
Maybe
accepted.
we'll stick to 15.
Challenge
I think
accepted. We can
uh,
do it. We can do it in under 15.
under 15 minutes. So if
Yeah.
somebody reaches out,
Mm-hmm.
they need to say Chad sent them. And I want Parth to set this up in under 15 minutes with 3 data sources. We'll just pick 3 random ones. Obviously, they'll need the tool, but we could probably do like a CrowdStrike, a Tenable, and a Wiz, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
coverage all the cross. Set it up in 10 minutes. No, 15. I think 10 minutes, but 15 will do it. If they can, I don't know. I'll owe you something or them. We'll see. So that's the opportunity for somebody to reach out. I think if somebody does, they're not going to be disappointed. We wouldn't have went through this acquisition if it was just some made up tool that we sat here and talked about for a half hour and does none of that. One call, get it set up, get integrated, and I think that you will see the return instantly. And that part brings us to our lightning round. This is where I'm going to ask you 3 questions, and you got to answer them as quickly as possible. I don't know if you can do it. What do you think?
Let's give it a go.
All right. Let's see. They're pretty easy. I think you can do this. You've built a couple companies now. So, startup life versus corporate life, but I want that in 3 words.
3 words. Focused, fast, flexible. And I have a second one too. Slack is noisy.
Slack is no. How about Zoom too, right?
Oh,
A lot of
Zoom too.
meetings. You go in the office now to take Zoom calls, right? That's what you do?
That's right.
Yeah.
That's what I'm doing right now.
Where are you? Yeah, you look like those carpeted
I'm in
walls?
one of our fancy new phone booths.
Oh, you're in the Palo
Really nice.
office, huh?
Yeah, I'm in the Palo office, which is starting to shape up really nicely, actually.
Yeah. I helped pick out some of that furniture, so
Hey,
but if
call
you
me
don't like it,
classy. I'll tell
don't
you that. Good choice.
yeah, I probably was like just like, "Hey, that looks good." Somebody else did all of it. So, this next question, What is one feature that is always on your mind, but it's so far backlogged that you're never going to get to?
Evidence collection for compliance.
You really want that? I don't know who wants it more, you or me. Is it that far backlogged?
Well, it's always on my mind. Let's just say that much.
Okay. Yeah, maybe I can probably get into your Jira and bump that up if that's where it's living.
Let's do it.
And then the final question for you: what is one product hill that you would die on?
One product hill that I'll die on. Always listen to the customer. I think always listen to the customer, because if you read in between the lines, you'll figure out the why. And two, I firmly believe this. It's not a product thing, but do to say ratio or say to do ratio, however people want to call it. I like that to be 1-to-1. You do what you say and you say what you do. If you do that with your customers, promise you're going to have very happy customers.
I have to know, is it true that the customer is always right?
Yes, always right.
I knew it. That's what I think too. Well, perfect. We appreciate having you on. We'll let you get back to your day job. I think what is it, like 1:00 where you're at? You still got some work to do today.
Yeah, I guess I was trying to get out early, but I can't do that anymore.
Well, great. Thanks for joining, man. To all those listeners out there. Yep. Likewise, man. This has been Deepwatch Unfiltered. And for everyone listening, be sure to subscribe, share, and let us know what topics you want us to tackle next. Remember, you can listen to this podcast from wherever you stream your podcast, and we'll see you next time. Until then, stay safe and secure. And if it does hit the fan, call us so it doesn't happen again.